Every once in a while, something unexpected finds you. I was scoping through suggested videos on Facebook, and a guitarist I'd never seen before stopped me instantly. Tone, the phrasing, the intensity, not just fast playing, but feeling. Wasn't technique for show, it was identity in every note. And for anyone meeting him today, Warren Hughes is an up and coming shred guitarist who built his audience through video and content instead of the traditional touring grind. He has new music and an upcoming album on the way. He's carving out a real place for himself in modern guitar and that demands both skill and authenticity. The story goes beyond music. When life hit him hard and took his leg, he didn't disappear. He turned to music as therapy, as identity, as survival. Resilience is part of why his playing hits me so deeply. Today, we're talking about all of that and the origin, the craft, the new album, the recording process, the mental side of music, and how guitar has helped him fight his way forward. Warren Hughes, welcome to Mind Behind the Music. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for having me, first and foremost, man. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thank you, man.
No problem.
You're very talented, and I'm looking forward to learning more about you. For people discovering you for the first time, how do you describe who you are as an artist today?
I would describe it as, or describe myself as just passionate and just genuinely have a love for music. I always have ever since I was a little kid. I could go back to whenever I was 6 years old, and my uncle took me to a record store, and he bought Kiss Alive 2, and he bought Van Halen's first album. He bought both of those at the same time.
Wow.
And of course my uncle's a drummer, you know what I mean? So so that it was that. Just hearing the Van Halen album and seeing the inner cover of Kiss Alive 2 and seeing Ace Frehley over here up on the platform and the stage is exploding and things like that. I didn't really play guitar, but it was already like, I want to do that, So it's a combination of that and a combination of my family in general.
Yeah.
I come from a family of musicians. I'm talking about from my grandmother on, her kids and her brothers and sisters and their kids. And, I got a family of cousins. There's 14 of them. And at least they can sing, every last one of them. And at least they can play the piano, let alone my mom, my cousins, and my uncle had a band whenever I was a kid, and the guitars and drums and stuff were always downstairs. But I was forbidden to touch any of it. And they had no idea how bad, that I really wanted to play, So it's a combination of all those things. But man, it mainly comes from my family and just being around music all my life. Because, and the family, they, we all went to church together, whenever I was a kid. And most of my family, they were all the musicians in church.
Yeah.
So I was constantly around it, and when the time came, I still didn't let go of what I wanted to do, regardless of whatever else was going on. So I would just, like I said, it's just a general love for music within itself, and just wanting to play. I just wanted to play, man. That's all I wanted to do all my life, and still to this day. That's all I want to do, man. So
it's blood. It's definitely in your blood. Yeah, you're telling me your story about Kiss Alive 2 album, and that just blows my mind because
right.
I swear to God, dude,
mm-hmm.
I'm writing this book, and
right.
the introduction on that is the Kiss Alive 2 album when I was a kid.
Right.
And I described the whole inside cover and everything just
right.
like you did.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if, I actually liked the music at the time, but I loved their image.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it was that really inspired me, to get into their music.
Right. Right.
To me, they were like superheroes,
And when I was like, 6, 7, 8 years old, man, my mom had a, record player and big stereo speakers.
Yeah.
And we had a back porch that was probably 8 feet off the ground. Okay. And on Saturdays, sometimes my mom would put the speakers outside.
Yeah.
And put my Kiss record on and let me throw my own personal Kiss concert by myself. I would go pick a stick off a tree that looked like a V guitar.
So you're air jam.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm running around in the yard, jumping around, playing the guitar, spitting red Kool-Aid out my mouth, man. I'm serious. It was that much of an influence, man. People just, they just have no freaking idea. But that's
I love your
That's what
story.
did it for me. Just seeing Kiss did it for me, and but hearing Van Halen was just like
Blew your mind.
it just blew my mind. At 6 years old, I got on those headphones from the '70s. They're like this freaking big, you know. And I got those headphones on, and I'm in a totally different world, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just like, oh my goodness.
Now you said you were brought up around, music with church and stuff like that. I assume it was probably a Baptist church,
But actually, my grandmother and them, they were Pentecostal.
Pentecostal. Is
Yeah,
that
you know
like
what I'm
this
saying?
similar religion? Is it? I'm not.
I would assume I didn't really, look, when I was, even to this, I had a one-track mind. You know what I mean? I was always thinking about Kiss or the guitar or something. Even when I was in church, you know what I mean? I was supposed to be, I was supposed to be
gospel
involved in
songs.
church.
Yeah, there's
You know,
gospel, and you're like
right,
Kiss.
right, man. And it was just that was just people just have no idea how constant that was on my mind, man. That was just something I wanted to do so bad. And even my cousins that play guitar, I would ask them, "Hey, man, show me how to do this." You're too small. Get out the way. I don't have time. And they did not have any idea how bad I wanted to do it. So
That's such an awesome story, man.
but yeah, man. Yeah.
Love it. So, the next question I have kind of relates to what you were just saying is, the earliest memory where music hit you emotionally and felt like part of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
I assume that comes with the Kiss Alive 2 album and listening to the Van Halen album, and
yeah,
that's just incredible, man. So, do you remember the exact moment when you knew that guitar was going to define your life?
When I was 17 years old, I mean, I knew around with the guitar at 16.
Right.
But when I was 17, my uncle was stationed. He was in the Air Force, and he was stationed out in Spokane, Washington. And the Monsters of Rock came to Spokane. The Van Halen, Metallica, Scorpions, Dokken, that concert came, and this is the first concert I ever went to in my life.
Nice.
Okay, and my uncle for that summer he rented me a Kramer guitar from the local music shop. I think it was called Hoffman's. It's in Spokane. It was a music store called Hoffman's Music, and he rented me a Kramer guitar and a Rockman soloist headphone amp for the summer while I was out there, and he took me to that concert.
Yeah,
I mean, I was just like, oh my goodness,
After seeing that, you were just like, I'm doing it.
Right. And then the next day I was flying back to Alexandria, Virginia. That's where we moved to after we left West Virginia. I was flying back the next day, and I asked my uncle, I was like, will you buy this for me? And when he did that, my friends didn't see me. I didn't hang out with nobody. I stayed in my room constantly playing that guitar. I would just put on what I liked and play scale patterns along with. Not exactly playing the exact song. I would play the scale patterns along with, like, I was listening to Dio and Dokken and Striper and stuff like that.
The 80s metal stuff.
Exactly. Stuff like that, man. And I would just play little scale patterns that I learned on the keyboard.
That's awesome, man. You're instantly learning how to apply what you've learned. I mean, you're taking the scales and you're instantly trying to apply them.
Exactly.
Thing.
Right.
And that's excellent, man. That is really an excellent approach. I mean, most people, they learn everything note for note.
Right.
And which, I'm guilty of it too when I was growing up. But, it wasn't until I started actually doing what you're saying, applying it, myself to where I started developing my own voice as a musician. So
right. Exactly.
You had a really great, great start, and I started out with a very good habits.
I never learned like Dio songs or Dokken songs. I sat and played lead patterns along with just something that was in the proper key.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So that's what I did, and I just kept continuing to do that and continuing to do that. Now I'm at a point to where I'm like going back and learning all these 80s songs, and I'm like, oh man, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Because I didn't do it back then, so.
That's awesome, man. So you started right out, like I was saying earlier, that you came right out doing it the right way, as far as, developing your own voice as a musician.
Right.
By doing that, that's awesome. You took the song and instead of playing it note for note, you took the vibe from it and the whole feel that you got from that song, and then you put your own, style to
Oh,
it.
we touch on it. Exactly. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. It's part natural ability, but it's also, passion, and being able to connect with what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Quickly, right? Looking back now, what did guitar give you outside of music more? Confidence, escape, purpose, belonging, self-discipline, and how did it help you develop, personally, like self-development?
It definitely helped. I was always kind of like the different kid. You know, I was the different one. You know, everybody else was, everybody else was listening to, R&B and funk,
Yeah,
and not that I didn't. I listened to that too. Don't get me wrong.
yeah,
I was the only one. Me and my uncle were the only ones that really listened to the hard rock and the heavy metal stuff. Um, and of course, it actually, man, music always took me someplace else. Even when I was just listening to music,
mhm,
you know what I mean? It was like it took me to another place, man. That wasn't here
yeah,
in your conscience. You know what I mean?
yeah,
You're just not here. Once you get to a certain point in a song, or you listen to a certain point in a song, or just like for instance, I love Journey. Journey's my favorite band out of every band I've ever listened to because of the music structure, and I love people who can actually sing. Just for instance, that song "Who's Crying Now," that solo section in that song, you want to talk about going to another place.
yeah.
That's one of the things that does it. Heart, the song Barracuda, or Magic Man, or any of that stuff by them. There are just certain things that take your mind to another realm, man.
Yeah.
And it's hard to explain. Or even when I'm sitting down playing guitar, when I get to a certain part of something or playing a solo for something,
Yeah.
bro, I'm not even here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I can't tell you exactly what I'm playing. I can't tell you exactly how I'm playing it. I can't do any of those things. Or whenever I was out playing live and playing in front of people,
You're in the zone.
you're in the zone. I know this is kind of rude and selfish to say, but at the same time, when I'm on that stage,
You don't give a shit.
I don't see anybody out in that crowd. I've played in front of thousands of people at one time. I don't see any of that, bro. Because once my mind goes to that realm, that's where I am.
That's awesome, man.
I wish people could really take a true understanding of what I'm actually saying right now.
Yeah, well, it's almost like a meditative state,
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. It's a meditative state that's undescribable. But you got to think of it like this, too. Even in a religious realm,
Yeah,
I mean, you listen to the music, it's very emotional.
yeah,
It's very emotional, man. So that's the same thing as when we're playing metal, or
yeah,
you're playing classical, or whatever it is that you're playing, man.
yeah.
It's a spiritual thing, man. It really is. And like I said, I wish people would take a true understanding of that, because it'll take your mind somewhere if you're going through the worst possible situation in your life.
Yep,
Okay?
yep.
You sit down and play some music or play your instrument, you're not thinking about none of that, bro.
Um,
You are put here for a purpose. I was put here to share the music. That's what I was put here for. I wasn't put
yeah,
here for no other reason. I wasn't put here to deem my success off of materialistic items. I wasn't put here to get a big house, a nice car, and and all that. Man, I don't care about that stuff, bro.
it's a gift.
You know what I'm saying? What means something is this music and how it touches people.
Yeah,
That's what means something in this life, man. Or whatever it is that is your purpose, that you go out here and touch people with what you do.
Now, let's talk about your practice.
Okay.
When you practice today, what are you trying to tap into? I mean, precision, creativity, emotion, flow, something spiritual, which we're talking about right now. We've been discussing, but what is it that you're really trying to tap into when you practice?
When I'm practicing, bro, I'm trying to make sure that my fingers are hitting the right place. You have the muscle memory of what scales go where, and what's going to lead to this, and what's going to lead to that, and what's going to lead to this. I think a lot of people underestimate the importance of having proper fingering position. People don't understand how important that is, man. It's all cool to be able to play the arpeggios and play really fast and stuff like that, but bro, precision, that accounts for something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Precision accounts for something, and timing accounts. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't have those two things, man, it's not going to sound good. It's not. So that's why a lot of times, if you got to break out the metronome and put it on 80, bro, if you have to, you got to do what you got to do to make sure that what you're playing is right.
It's crucial to practice with a metronome, or what I like to do, just for the sake of, getting that live kind of vibe, is I'll practice with like a drum beat, to make it more interesting, and so it's not so monotonous as a
Yeah, I do that too. Or I'll make a little rhythm track along with a triplet, double bass beat. You know what I'm saying? If I'm doing something that's like that,
yeah.
I'll make a little track, man, just so it keeps it interesting, man, so that you're not bored listening to the click.
Yeah.
But one thing though about the click, when you don't hear the click, that's how you know you're doing it right. When you don't hear that click and you're sitting there playing whatever it is you're playing,
the notes or whatever,
exactly, whatever it is, when you stop hearing that click, and it's one of those
like an inner metronome, maybe.
Yeah, well, that, and also it's a conscious thing. You're not going to hear you not hearing the click. Yeah. It's kind of it just kind of happens. You know what I'm saying? It just kind of happens. So that's how I measure if I'm doing something right, because you're gonna get to a point where the click ain't gonna come in, but you're gonna be right on time. Yeah. But the click is actually playing. So that's just how I can tell when I'm doing something and I'm making progress.
Locked in, right?
Right, exactly.
That's like this zone. We're talking about the zone again, because
there you go. Yeah, that's important.
You get so involved into what you're doing, and you're indulged into it, that it becomes second nature, and it's like breathing, like I was talking to you about earlier, man.
Mm-hmm. As far as practicing, if I'm trying to learn something that I've never played before, bro, I'll break that shit down into 10-minute segments, and I don't practice the whole 10 minutes. I'll play it for a minute, take a break. Practice it for another minute, take a break. Practice it for another, take a break. Those breaks that you are taking are giving your brain time to process the information that it's never seen or touched before. Okay? You got to let that brain process that information. You know what I'm saying? You can't just keep at it and keep at it and keep at it, because what you're going to start doing is making mistakes. Then you're going to start getting frustrated. Then you're going to put the guitar down and you're going to go do some other shit. That whole practice routine that I do, I'll do that 3 times a day if I'm working on something new. And I promise you, you will notice the progress if you do it that way, instead of sitting there for 2 hours, 3 hours at a time.
Practicing it,
right.
Taking a break, processing it, going back to it.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense, because each time that you go back to it, you're going back to it without that frustration that you might.
Exactly. You go back with a fresh mind and a fresh, and of course, that brain process from your brain to your hand, muscle memory.
Yeah.
Give your brain time to process, just like when you're lifting weights, bro. Just like when you're lifting weights, you're gonna lift those weights so many times to where you can't lift it anymore. You gotta put them weights down and let your muscles take a break. But what I've learned as I've gotten older, you don't gotta play hard, bro. Relax. You know what I'm saying? Relax, man. Yep. So once I learned how to relax, oh my goodness, man, it started flowing like freaking water, man.
Yeah, instead of fighting against it, you're one with what you're doing, man. I had a teacher that gave me like a piece of advice that just blew my mind, because it just makes so much sense. And when I talked to him about his, ability and his technique, because he was he was in Guitar Magazine back in like the early 90s for one of the upcoming heavy metalists of the 90s. And he did the 8-finger tapping shit. And, but I asked him, I was like, how do you get so good? And he was like, he told me to think lazy.
Right.
Think lazy with both hands, and just let it, your hands will naturally, just be in sync with each other. Think of it as like maybe like a ballerina, and how graceful they are. And, and the more relaxed that you are, the more control that you're actually having.
Absolutely.
Over the instrument. That piece of advice that he gave me is absolutely 100% along with what you're discussing about relaxing.
Yeah, you gotta relax, man. Like you said, man, you're pretty much fighting yourself.
Yeah, you're fighting against yourself.
And you literally are.
Warren, you built your audience through online video instead of touring. When did you realize that that could be a real career path for you?
I never even took that into consideration, man. I just played, man. That's it. I never really took that into consideration. I remember probably about 6 or 7 years ago, I did a video and it got like 180,000 views. It was like the first one I did. And then I found out about the groups on Facebook, like the guitar group, shred guitar group, metal guitar group, you know what I'm saying? 80s heavy metal guitar group, blah, blah, blah. And I took that video and shared it with all of those groups. So it got to a point to where I would get up in the morning at about 5 before I went to work, and I would share a video that I did with all 200 groups that I was in. Then I go to work, and I come back and see all the views on the videos. So, and that's where it kind of started, you know what I mean? I wasn't playing in a band. The band thing really wasn't happening around 2014, 15. It just wasn't, And I just started doing the videos, man, and just putting it out there, And then the next thing you know, I got a call from Oscar Jordan. Oscar Jordan is the editor of Vintage Guitar Magazine.
Sweet.
And he said, you ever heard of the guitar show they have out, the amp show they have out in Van Nuys? I was like, no. He was like, well, he was explaining to me what it was and stuff like that. He's like, would you like to come out and do that? I was like, yeah. I'd never been to LA before, So I went out there and did that. And that's the video that I sent you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I got to go out there and do that. And so I'm sitting on that stage with all those
other talented musicians.
And I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, what am I doing here?
How did I get here?
How did I get here? What am I doing here? I'm not as good as these people. That's my mindset, and I'm hearing all the, the things that the different players done and, and what they've been a part of. And I'm just sitting there, I'm sitting there like, I'm just Warren.
Yeah.
I don't have a big, a big list of all these things I've done. I'm just Warren the guitar player. That's it. And then there was that. And then while I was at that show, I went and Line 6 had a room. And they were like, I went in there and started playing. And the guy from Line 6 was like, hey, we want to send you a Helix and a pedal board for a Helix. Make some videos for it. He said make some presets on the Helix.
That's awesome.
You know what I'm saying? So it was that. And then we're going to send you a badge for the NAMM show. So I go to the NAMM show, and of course I'm overwhelmed. It's so much stuff. And I can remember one of my friends off of Facebook, he called me. He's like, hey, George Lynch is upstairs. He just got done. You know how they do the little things for the ESP booth?
Yeah.
I go upstairs. Man, I walk straight through the crowd, right to the back room. George Lynch and the owner of ESP is standing back there. And I'm standing there. George comes over, and the dude was like, hey, George, George was like, stop. I already know this dude. I already know who he is. I've been watching. And I'm just standing there like, okay.
That's major flattery.
And it was just like, okay. And I started talking about the Monsters of Rock. He's like, did you know Spokane was my hometown? I was like, no, I didn't know that, bro. You know what I'm saying? And we just standing there kicking it, just, But yeah, man, it's opened some doors for some things, But now I'm to the point now, I want people to hear what I sound like. People know what I sound like playing other people's music.
Right.
You know what I mean? But now I'm to the point to where, it's time for me to go ahead and record some stuff that is totally me and not nothing super fast. Like the stuff, I think I sent you the links to my Bandcamp and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily want to play stuff like that. You know what I mean? I was doing it, then, but now I'm just like, okay, it don't take all that.
You're in a different place now.
I'm in a different place, man, and all you got to do really is be true to yourself, man. Be true to yourself and do what you do, and everything else will take care of itself, man.
To my understanding, you study classical guitar, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you have a classical theory background.
Right, exactly.
Wow. And that's cool. So I assume that, like most of us, that NAMM scene has some kind of influence on you as well.
Definitely.
Incorporating the classical that you learned and incorporating that with metal, right? Now, do you think of these concepts, the classical theory, when you're writing these guitar solos at all, or is it just
never?
It comes by feel.
It comes by feel, exactly. I never apply any theory to what I do, bro. I just do what I do. Yeah. You know what I mean? I just don't, man. It's like that whole thought process of thinking a theory while you're playing. That's almost, to me, like the reason why I left school, and I'm going to explain this to you.
Yeah.
being in music school and playing, you know, because, you know, when you're going to college and going to GIT, that's probably something totally freaking different. Okay, because first of all, I never played classical guitar. I was, I played electric guitar all the freaking time.
Right.
So going to school and learning all the classical pieces and taking theory and stuff like that, to me, that was like, it was kind of like my guitar teacher that I had in college was a painter, okay? He was a painter. He painted this picture, but down here in this corner was this little blank box. But in that little blank box, Warren, you have to paint exactly what I tell you, and you cannot paint anything otherwise, and you have to stay within this box. I can't play like that, bro. I'm just not that player. There are people who can, and I did play like that. And I guess it's a choice.
It doesn't come naturally. It's not really your thing. It's not really approach anything.
Exactly. So it was just like, nah. I mean, I can and I will. It's not who I am. Man, I take stuff and I look at it like I have not perfected what I do. So I'm constantly a work in progress as far as what I do. When I'm building on a guitar solo, these are scale patterns that I've been playing for years. I'm just placing them in a different, just like it's, that's
arrangement.
Exactly. And if you notice that whole section of the solo portion, it's really, really slow. It speeds up and it double kicks. It might go double time, but at the very beginning, it's very slow. So when you're playing like that, there has to be some emotion involved. Yeah, I mean, you can't just play the note and just hold that note and not bend it or you gotta make it talk when you're playing something that's at that tempo. You're trying to play something to make it talk at that tempo, but at the same time, you know that other section is coming. So you gotta build up, man. Build up the intensity. Build it up. And when the intensity comes, hit them with the intensity, bro.
Whether you're consciously thinking of it or not, there's some theory involved in what you're doing, because when you're doing the diminished arpeggios, the chord progression that you're doing has to follow that too.
Right.
So maybe without even consciously thinking of it, but it comes to a point where you've locked that shit in for so many years and so much time that you put in practicing that you don't have to think about it anymore.
There you go, right there. It may appear that I am using this theory, but I'm not thinking that way, bro. But yeah, that makes perfectly good sense.
That's locked in, man. Music theory is just a guide. It helps you to understand the language.
Right.
I like your legato.
Thank you.
It's excellent, man.
That's something I had to work on from doing this right here. Like, that's a good finger exercise for doing your legato shit.
Dude, Warren, when you lost your leg, if you're comfortable talking about this.
No, we're good. It's good.
You mentioned to me that, you had a blocked artery. Is that what it was?
Mm-hmm.
And they had to amputate your leg. Now,
right.
I'm sorry to hear that, for one, but, something, most people will never experience. But what role did music, play in helping you to hold onto yourself?
Well, here's the thing, man. Whenever you go through something like that, the first thing that came to my mind was harsh realities. Number one, I lost my dad when I was 14. I lost my oldest brother when I was 17. I lost my mom when I was 18. And then I lost my other brother in 2004. Okay? I looked at it like this. You've been through a lot of hard things in your life. And a lot of times you'll go through hard things in your life because something else is coming that you're going to have to deal with. So I took all of that and applied. You've been through all of that. You made it through that just fine. You're going to have to go through this. And this is on you. It ain't on nobody else. So that was the number one thing. Number two thing, when I started going through, start thinking negative thoughts or going into a depressive state, I picked up my guitar, bro. Because like we talked about earlier, you are in a spiritual realm whenever you are playing your instrument. And when you're in that spiritual realm, can't nothing come in that spiritual realm except for you and that instrument. So while I was healing and dealing with the mental capacity of the situation, I played my guitar every time I started to feel negative. And sometimes it'd be 10, 20 times a day, bro, that I'm picking up that guitar to keep me out of that negative mind frame. Because it's easy to get into a depressive state, and it's hard to hell to get out of. When I say music is therapy, that's exactly what it is. It'll take your mind somewhere so that you're not concentrating on whatever it is that you're going through. So, and that's how music helped me get through this whole situation. And the good thing about that is I became a better player from going through this. So
you took a negative and you turned it into a positive.
Absolutely. Because like I said, I used harsh realities. Life is not going to stop. It's going to continue. You still got life to live out here. That's number one. Number two, you're not the only one that's been through losing a leg or losing a limb. Harsh realities, bro. That's number two. Number three, and this is a very harsh reality, but when it comes to moving in this structure or this society, the world don't care what you've been through. Those bills still got to be paid, and all of those things. All that stuff still has to be taken care of. But like I said before, that guitar saved my life. It did.
I believe it, man.
It saved me. It saved me from going through some mental capacity that people couldn't even imagine. So that's why I am passionate about the guitar the way that I am, and I am passionate about that guitar even more, that it brought me through what I went through.
Rather than let it overcome you, focused on something that was productive.
Absolutely. Man, sometimes you got to use things as a tool, man. That's what they're put here for. Like I said, it's been easy to fall into a depressive state. It's been real easy. There were mornings I get up every morning and look at my situation, and the first word to come out my mouth would be fuck.
Yeah.
First words. Not I'm glad I woke up this morning or I'm thankful to be here. Not any of that. I would cuss. But at the same time, like I said, and at this time I didn't even have my prosthetic yet. So I'm on one leg and on a walker. My porch to this shed is probably about 50 yards. Some mornings it would be freaking snowing. You know what I'm saying? I get up, put my clothes on, I come right out here and sit my ass down, and I'll be out here all day. Sitting out here playing, escaping what's going on. Just like with the guitar playing, I could use this for the guitar playing as well. You have to manifest things, man. You have to. Manifest things, man. Manifest it, it's going to happen. Just like when this happened, all I manifested and all I saw was myself getting up walking. I can remember going to physical therapy when I first got my prosthetic. I was in there and out of there in a week. I was walking. They were like, it usually takes two people 2 months to walk with a cane.
That's unwillingness to give up.
Exactly. There was that. And then I had to go to physical therapy every week after the initial. They were like, we were impressed with you when you first walked in here. But I was bound and determined, man. Just like I was bound and determined to play this guitar. But I'll be damned if I'm going to let anything stop me from what I want to do. This is my life right here. This is what I was put here for. And I'm not going to let anything stop what I have to do. And I'm not finished. I'm just beginning. That's why I am constantly working. I'm constantly doing finger exercises. I'm constantly working and improving on what I do, man.
It's awesome, man. That's awesome. And kudos to you, man. I was just thinking that determination you learned from your dedication to guitar. And you learned through that dedication of guitar, you will get out of it what you put into it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And from that experience and from that learning experience, you applied that same attitude toward learning to walk again.
Absolutely.
And that's why you excelled as quick as you did. Just like you did when you first started playing guitar, where you were playing a year and you were probably better than most people that have been playing for 10, 20 years.
Even. Yeah. I was bound and determined.
Yeah. I 100% believe that, man. So that is great. And was there a moment during recovery when music reminded you that the situation didn't take your identity? I know you're kind of already talking about that, but if you could elaborate.
No, you're good.
In other words, that just because you had your leg amputated does not mean that you're a different person, that you're any less than you were.
Absolutely. Just like when I was in therapy, I took my guitar with me, and I was on my bed in the room that I was in, and I was sitting there playing. But whenever I'd sit in that room and play, I'd have a crowd of people outside my door.
Well, the way you play, I wouldn't doubt it, man.
There was a crowd of people always outside my door, and there were similar people going through the same situation I was, and it helped. You know, it helped. It helped the situation. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, I don't know what I would have done if I did not have that guitar, man. And I'm being totally honest with you.
Did you attend West Virginia University or?
Yep, that's where I went. Yep.
Is that where you got your education in music?
Yep.
Oh, that's beautiful, man.
Yeah, and that would make it so bad, bro. I was working in a music store at the mall here, and I was sitting in there playing one day, and the professor came in, the guitar teacher, and he was like, "You ever consider doing an audition at the university?" I was like, "No." He kept coming back every day for like a week. So finally, I was like, "Okay," because I knew he wasn't going to leave me alone. He was treating me like they were recruiting a star quarterback or something like that. You know what I mean? Right. So finally, I was like, "Okay." So he asked me, he's like, "Do you play classical guitar?" I was like, "No." I was like, "But I could probably get one here from the store and come up with something." He's like, "Okay, the audition's like a month away." So I got a classical guitar from the music store where I was working, and I just started messing around with some stuff. Something that I totally made up in my head. It wasn't anything, on paper or anything like that. So finally, the audition comes, and at this time, I'm like 26 years old, and I go into the Creative Arts Center and go downstairs to the room where the auditions are. Big long line of kids coming out of high school, So finally, it's my turn. I go in the room. There's like a semicircle of the guitar instructor, the piano instructor, the violin instructor, the cello instructor, and the dean of the Department of Music, bro. And they're sitting in a semicircle. So I sit there and play the little thing that I made up. And the guitar teacher goes over and he's like, "Okay, Warren, play me an A minor 7th chord." And I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, why you ask me that? You know good damn well I don't read music. There was a grand piano in the room. He went over there and played that piano and hit that A minor 7th on there. I played it on the guitar. They're like, "Okay, thank you for coming. We'll give you a call in about 4 to 6 weeks to let you know if you made it." I'm just thinking to myself, I knew I shouldn't have even brought my ass over here. I don't know why I came over here. I probably ain't going to make it in, blah, 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 all to myself. So I pack up my guitar, start walking down the hallway. The guitar teacher peeps his head out the door. He's like, "Hey, Warren." He's like, "Can you hold on for like 5 minutes?" I was like, "Yeah." Okay, so I'm out there in the hallway and shit. And he comes out. And he's like, "Walk down to my classroom with me." I was like, "Okay." He's like, "Sit down." So I sat down and he said, "Congratulations." I was like, "Congratulations what?" He's like, "You got a full scholarship."
Really?
I was like, "What?" Okay.
You did full scholarship?
Yeah. So I was like, whoa, wait a minute. What do you mean? I was like, while I was in there, they didn't show any emotion or anything. They didn't say anything. They didn't show any emotion. I said, "What they say?" I said, "What they say when I walk out of that room?" He said, "When you left that room, their mouths dropped on the floor." Yeah. He was like, they had never seen anybody with the technical ability that you have and didn't have any type of formal training. Yeah. So that's how I got into school. I wasn't.
Good for you, man. That's
awesome. What I'm saying? I never looked to go to college or any of that stuff. I was just playing and doing what I love, bro.
Full scholarship. That's fucking amazing. For someone watching this right now, Warren, who might be at somebody that might be at rock bottom right now. What would you like them to know? What would you what kind of advice would you give them right now for somebody in a really fucked up situation like you had gone through?
Just always know, man, that you have a purpose in this life. I don't know what everybody's individual purpose is, but whatever your purpose is, dig and find what your purpose is. If you don't know, and walk in your purpose. That's the most important thing in life, because we are indoctrinated with so many things that have nothing to do with us as individuals. And I think just learning what your purpose is, walking in your purpose, or doing your purpose at some particular point in time throughout the day or your life or what have you. That's the most important thing, man, is to find your true identity of who you are, because you getting up, going to work every day is not your identity. How much money you make and the things you do and how much materialistic things you gather is not your success. Your success has to do with your purpose.
What kind of advice would you give people that, do not know their purpose, that don't have the gift of music for an outlet, or what would you suggest to them? It might be a difficult question for you
No,
because
no, no. That's a good one.
you do have a purpose, but for others that might not have it, what would
Right.
you suggest?
You have to manifest things and see things, and maybe your purpose might be outside of music or whatever, or if you're an artist or whatever it is that your purpose is, or you have something in life that you enjoy to the utmost. You have something. If you can't figure out what your purpose is, there's something that brings joy to your life. Find that joy find that joy of something in your life, and do something within that joyful realm. Try to do something in that joyful realm, man. It'll make a difference in your life.
See where it takes you. Yeah.
Exactly, because that joyful realm doesn't have anything to do with a 9 to 5. I will find out what my joyful realm is. If you can't find what your purpose is, that joyful realm is the next best thing.
That's beautiful, man. The way that you describe that.
Thank you.
Now, Warren, what are the most important habits or skills that you would suggest for young guitarists trying to learn to play guitar, or any practice habits that you can suggest?
The most important thing that guitarists or musicians in general need to know is warm up. Warm up is so important, man. It's so freaking important. Because if you don't warm up, that's like going to run a 100-yard dash and you didn't warm up.
Yeah.
What's going to happen? You're probably going to cramp up. So just some little things that aren't. I'll show you one thing that's not musical.
Right.
Then I'm going to show you a thing that's musical. And then I'm going to show you a thing that takes the power of your brain and your fingers. So the first thing I'm going to show you is this is just a warm-up exercise to warm up your fingers. Okay? And it's all chromatic on all strings. Okay? So here it is. So all you're doing, so you're going to push and you're going to pull. Okay? So it'll sound like this. Okay? That's going to get your fingers warmed up.
Now, do you use a metronome when you're warming up?
Yes, I use a metronome when I'm doing that.
All right.
And then there's this. This will sound a little more musical so that you're not getting bored of the chromatic thing. Okay?
Right. Okay.
So this is a hammer-on pull-off thing too, and this will also help with legato technique.
All right, so it's more musical.
Right. This is like an A minor thing. All right. So again, you're doing the push-pull thing. So you're. That's it. Okay? That's going to take you through, and it sounds a little more musical.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so this one here is going to take up all your brain power. This right here is because you're going to have to constantly think about what you're doing. This is a picking exercise, and along with this will help you with legato technique as well. So this is a... So... See, that's going to take up all your brain.
Yeah.
You constantly thinking. You're thinking about picking, and you're thinking about your hand movements.
Right.
Okay? So that's taking up that whole process of your brain to the hand, to the string, to the sound. Okay?
But at the same time, you're being relaxed, right?
Exactly. You got to relax. You do that with a metronome, you'll notice what we were talking about before, the relaxing. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get to a point where you're totally relaxed whenever you're doing that.
And start out slow with the metronome and build up speed gradually.
Right, exactly.
Right. I like that you mentioned that, it's crucial to warm up because every player should know that. That's just something you need to do, no matter how long you've been playing, no matter how many years. And I'm guilty myself going against my own, not practicing what I preach after years of playing.
Right.
I fucked up my elbow as a result of not warming up properly, and now I
Right.
have cubital tunnel syndrome. So that's
Right.
that's a warning to people, that you have to
Right.
warm up properly. And I also wanted to mention that it's good to stretch too, as you would,
Yes, it
like
is.
an athlete too.
Right. Stretching is important as well. I'm sorry I didn't mention that. So the stretching would be, you do this, you know what I'm saying? Push out this way, hold that for about 15 seconds, pull the thumb about 15 seconds, okay? And then put it here and push forward. You know what I mean? Just those three. Those are what I do as far as playing. You know what I mean? And along with the finger exercises, bro, you'll be nice and limber to play whenever,
That's crucial, man. That's
So those things right there, I think those are most important. Yeah, you got to know your notes and what you're going to play and things of that nature. But that those finger exercises and stretching, man, is very important.
Yeah, it's like an athlete because it's taking, it's a physical, demand.
Absolutely,
just like
absolutely.
an athlete, they stretch before
Right.
they play, or a baseball player or a football player or whatever.
Absolutely.
And it's crucial. But if you skip that, man, it's going to catch up with you. And
Right.
I'm an example of that because, like I said, I fucked up my elbow as a result of trying to skip.
Right. Doing the stretching and stuff. Yeah. That's just something that got to be done, man. I'll sit here some mornings, man, and I'm like, man, I got to do this because I know what I'm getting ready to play is going to be pretty intense. I play a legato line like this.
Okay.
Okay, so it's. Okay, so you're. You see what I mean? So if you ain't stretched out and you haven't done your finger exercises and you try to do that, you're going to lock up or you're going to cramp up, bro.
Yeah. And
so,
you're going to end up fucking up your hand or
there you go.
Something else. What mistake do you see new players make that holds them back without realizing it, other than the not warming up properly?
Playing fast and not playing with feel.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Yeah, these kids now are very, very technical players, man. Don't get me wrong, and some of the stuff is very impressive. It is. But at the same time, man, you got to pause and bend some of them notes and make that guitar talk.
Exactly.
Because everybody's not a musician.
Yeah.
That's listening to your music.
Yeah. Wanting your 64th notes.
Right. So there are a lot of people who are not comprehending what you are doing, because you're flying right through things.
And they're not even really comprehending what they're doing because they're just flying through it.
Right.
Without actually putting any emotion into it.
Exactly. And emotion in music is so freaking important, man. You got to make it talk. You got to let people know what you are, you got to let them know what you're trying to say or what you are feeling.
Yeah.
That's crucial. Because 9 times out of 10, if you let them know what you're feeling, they're going to feel it.
Yeah. That's just one aspect of the toolbox is speed and technical proficiency.
Right. Yeah. I'm at a point now, man, I could care less about the speed thing. I got something to say.
Yeah.
I might throw some speed in there somewhere, but it ain't the whole solo, ain't speed.
Yeah, but that's for emotional purposes.
Right. Exactly. I got something to say. When I'm doing them wide bends or my vibrato is really freaking wide, that means I'm either, I'm trying to let you feel how I'm feeling about something.
Yeah.
It's not, or I'm going to bring you to that point if I am playing something fast and I'm going to end it with vibrato or some type of bend or something like that. I'm not going to leave you.
Bring it down.
Yeah. Right.
Dude, I actually, another crucial thing I wanted to mention that I noticed in your playing too is your bends are beautiful, dude. You have perfect bends. Now, do you practice, your bends, or is that just something that
it's something that just comes out?
Yeah.
It just comes. Whenever it hits me and I'm feeling a certain way, and boy, when I feel it like that and I'm bending a certain, man, I get cold chills all over.
Yeah,
I know I'm feeling some type of emotion or I'm hurting or or what have you. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna express it that way.
You're using your ear to make sure that they're proper bends, like not a
Right.
like a sour bend. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't do these. I don't do these right here. Wait a
Yeah.
minute. I don't do. You know, you ever see dudes?
Yeah.
You know, or like a half. My shit's like. You see what I mean? Kind of like John Sykes. Oh my God. You know, he was an inspiration too, man. Those, oh my God, bro. You want to talk about making that guitar talk, man?
Oh my
You know,
God. Yeah.
yeah, just freaking phenomenal, bro. Yeah, I like that. I love that vibrato. That was one thing about Ace Frehley. Ace Frehley wasn't the most technical dude, okay? But good grief, that freaking vibrato and them wide bends, man. Good grief. Yes.
I wouldn't even play guitar right now if it wasn't for Kiss. So I guess.
Right. Yeah, I'm the same way, bro. I mean, I wasn't so much of, you know, learning the Kiss songs, man. Like you said, it was the image.
It was the
But as I got older and started recognizing, I was like, oh yeah, Ace.
Yeah.
You know, he was playing with some feel. You know.
For me, it was Kiss was the image, but Randy Rhoads was the
Oh, I got you.
dude that really pushed me over to the top, man. Where I wanted
Yep.
to grab the guitar and learn. You know.
Randy was awesome, man. I didn't start listening to Randy until, well, you know what? No, because I had Diary of a Madman. I had the cassette tape when I was 14. So, no, I ain't even going to say that. But Randy, there's what I respected about Randy and what I loved about Randy, man. I'm not going to say he was a influence on my playing, but at the same time,
Respected him.
Randy was the king of bringing you to that darker realm. The minor thing, he told that story perfectly. You know what I mean? That's what I loved about him and like Vivian Campbell. They were the ones that brought you to that. As my friend used to say, I used to play all the time, it bring you to that Troll Rock or that Dungeons and Dragons rock. They were the ones that brought me into that realm.
Or what would you say to a musician who has talent but doubts themselves?
What I would say to a musician that doubts themselves, because I am one of those musicians.
Yeah.
Okay? I am. I'm not even going to try and lie. I'm trying to be honest as I possibly can. Stay true to yourself as far as what you play. Play what you play, man. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Don't worry about, you know, being technical. Don't worry about that flash shit. Do you at all times, bro, and it's going to work out for you. Awesome. You know what I mean? It's going to work out. That's so stick, as they used to say, stick to your guns.
That's awesome, dude.
So yeah.
Well, Warren, I want to thank you sincerely for your time and for sharing your story with us. And you know, it was an honor getting to talk to you. And you know, I hope to see more of you. Is there anywhere that, you know, if somebody wants to look you up, where's the best way to find you? What's the best method of, you know?
I mean, I'm on Facebook most of the time, man. I'm on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. So look me up on either one of those platforms. I don't have a YouTube channel. I just never got into the YouTube thing, so I just didn't really bother with it.
What's your handle that they can find you at?
My handle on Instagram is Guitars 1970. My handle on TikTok is Black Metal 999, and just Warren Hughes on Facebook.
Awesome, man. Yeah. It was a pleasure, man. It was awesome getting to talk to you, and I am looking forward to hearing more from you in the near future.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I appreciate you, man. It's always good talking musician to musician, bro.